Ms. Holton, welcome. Introduce yourself and give us your testimony.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My name is Christopher Holton. I'm a senior analyst with the Center for Security Policy, and I appreciate the opportunity to address this committee again. I think it's safe to say that Texas is taking the most thorough and thoughtful approach to this issue. I've worked in many states over the last 3 years on this issue, and I think that the bill, SB 17, is going to be the gold standard for the country. Your colleagues in other states are definitely looking to see how Texas tackles this problem, because in states that have already taken action, there's more action that it will probably be taken based on how Texas does it. There's different forms of legislation that have been passed over the years. This is actually not a new issue. For decades, states have had restrictions and prohibitions on foreign ownership of agricultural land, for instance. More recently, some states have passed bills that have restricted ownership of land adjacent to military installations. More recently, it has been more common, for instance, in states like Arkansas and Louisiana and Alabama and Oklahoma, in recognition of the fact that critical infrastructure includes so many categories of assets that now there are broad restrictions on foreign adversary ownership of all real property within a state. We have to look at the fact that countries like China and North Korea and Iran and Russia are different from other countries in the world, and that they are foreign adversaries that have a history of threatening the national security of the United States. Obviously, the overarching threat right now is the country of communist China, and it's a threat that should need no introduction, but which includes a massive military buildup aimed at the U.S., bellicose threats directed at the U.S. and its allies, state-sponsored serial intellectual property theft, espionage, currency manipulation and unfair trade practices, violations of American airspace, violations of international law, gross human rights violations, state-sponsored organ harvesting, and global genocide due to knowingly lying to international health organizations during the COVID-19 pandemic and refusing to cooperate with international investigations and research into the COVID-19 virus. In fact, Communist China has been waging a highly unconventional conflict against the U.S. in a campaign labeled by the People's Liberation Army as unrestricted warfare. And part of that in the book, Unrestricted Warfare, includes strategic acquisition by state-backed Chinese companies and Chinese Communist Party members to pay top dollar for real estate, assets, and companies, not just in the United States, but all over the world. So China is a different case because Chinese entities are invariably controlled by the Communist government of China. There is no private sector in China. And it's not coincidental that the Chinese regime in recent years has reverted to becoming a much more Maoist regime in its philosophy and policies, even to the point of declaring a Maoist renaissance. Mao Zedong, in case anyone was unaware, was the biggest mass murderer of the 20th century, responsible for more deaths than Hitler, Stalin, and Pol Pot combined. Now, it's because of China's position as a rogue nation that it is important that they not control any of our food security, have access to conduct surveillance and reconnaissance of military installations, or be in areas contiguous to critical infrastructure. I appreciate the committee for the opportunity to address you all today, and I'm available for questions if you like.
Thank you for your testimony.